The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Goldendale, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31486. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting down at the front bumper, on the driver's side is where you'll find your PA and electric siren speaker. Moving up from that location, you'll find your headlight cluster housing the high and low beam and turn indicator. Moving all the way to the outer edge of the fender is where you'll find a side-facing emergency light. As we move to the front bumper where the cutout is located, you'll find additional attachment points or tow hooks. And then moving up into the grille, you'll find two forward-facing emergency lights above the Pierce logo. Once again, on the side, you'll find that side-facing emergency light. We'll move over just a little bit and you'll find your turn indicator marker light on the side fender. As we move up just slightly above that, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver side, and then you'll find your air intake for your engine. As we move through some of these images, we'll just talk about them as we go. First, you can see that you have here your Michelin tires with your Alcoa wheels. As we move to the side of the apparatus, you'll find sufficient grab handles per NFPA. And then as we look just down from that location, you'll find the latch, which allows you to release on the right and left side of the body, the hood. Looking at the side once again, you'll find step lights located just beneath the step area. You'll also find your low ultra sulfur diesel fuel. And then to the right, you'll find your DEF. The silver cap is going to be your diesel, and the blue cap will be your DEF. Close up here of some of those images of the steps. Let's go just now inside the cab. First, I'd like to point out this label. We'll talk a little bit about it in more detail. And then also I'd like to find comfort controls here on the lower left-hand side of the apparatus operator. And then as we move all the way to the top, we'll talk about this placard. Let's go back first to this yellow placard here, manufactured by Pierce. You can see the job number here, 31486 TR-01. You'll also find date of manufacture, additional information here regarding front and rear gross vehicle weight ratings, and additional tire inflation information. Located just beneath this is where you'll find your master battery switch. Moving to the dash itself, you'll find on the left, this is a keyed ignition. Moving up from that location, you'll find an increase or decrease. This is for your dimming of your lights inside on the dash panel. Moving up, you'll find your headlight control for headlights on or parking lights. And then moving up, you'll find cruise control controls here. And then all the way up at the very top, you'll find your speed control on and off. I would like to talk about this black placard here on the left. You can see you have a height coming out of the manufacturer of 9 feet 10 inches, 30 feet 6 inches in length, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 38,000 pounds. If you make any changes to your vehicle, you should adjust that placard. On the dash itself on the left, we have the transmission, water, and oil. Moving all the way to the center is where you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. And then moving to the right-hand side, you'll find your fuel and DEF gauge. It's a combination gauge at the top, front and rear air. Let's take a look at the right-hand side of the dash. This is where you're going to find your filter minder. This is for your air filter. Moving down, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. And then moving to the right, this is where you're going to be able to engage either to pump or to road. And you see this is a three-position switch. As we move further down, you'll find pump engaged and OK to pump. Moving to the right, you'll find this yellow pull to apply your parking brake, push to release. As we move further across the dash, we'll find your high idle. Located in the center of the switch is where you'll find the light indicator. You also have an alarm reset. Moving further to the right, you'll find a digital readout here with information regarding your vehicle. Moving down to the lower left-hand side, bottom set of switches, you're going to find your mirror heat for the right and left mirrors. You'll also find the center switch of these two. You're going to find this is your transmission for interlocking the rear differential. And then moving to the right, you'll find these two symbols. This is for when your vehicle needs to have its regen completed. And as we move further to the right, you'll find this Pierce indicator. This is your seatbelt indicator. Red indicating someone is in the seat but not belted. Green, they're in the seat and belted. At the very top, you'll find your do not move truck. OK to engage the high idle. And then you'll find your battery switch indicating that your battery is on. Let's move just a little bit to the right of this location is where you'll find your climate control. As we move down to the next set of switches, you're going to find on the outer edges you have 12 volt access here. This is a barrel style plug like a cigarette lighter. Moving to the right, you're going to find your door locks, and then further to the right you'll find all of your window controls. Located in the center, you'll find access panel and also storage locations for documents or map books. And then moving ahead of the operator overhead, you'll find your emergency master, lower zone, rear zone, a future switch location, and then you'll find air horn or electric horn, siren or horn, those are selectors, left and right flood, and rear seam. Down at the very bottom, you have an entire set of rocker switches here available to you for future access. Moving to the right, this is your Whelen, siren, and PA control. And then as we move further to the right on the outside edge of that module, you'll find this pull rope, which is for your air horns. Just a quick view here of the back of the apparatus. As we move, you'll see there are SCBA seats with SCBAs installed for brackets inside for quick release. Let's move back out to the outside of the apparatus where we'll find midsection. You have two grab handles here on the side of your apparatus. We'll now look at the cross lay. We'll talk a little bit about some of these gauges in the next set of images once they get closer. Let's focus now where the arrow is pointing down at the lower left-hand corner. Let's start first. This is when you plug your vehicle in. This is your Q-Small electric shoreline inlet. It's a 20 amp plug. Once it's plugged in, the auto charger will activate and give you a readout. Above that, you'll find your air inlet for plugging into the side of the apparatus to maintain your air pressure. Underneath the vehicles where you'll find your master drains, and also you'll find in this location you have some LED lighting here for perimeter lighting. Let's go ahead and move back to the pump panel. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner. First, let's start with the pump engaged. If this is illuminated, your pump is properly engaged. You will see a change on your pump discharge, and that is the indication for this gauge. Moving down, you'll find your pump intake, and then moving slightly to the right, you'll find your vacuum and pressure. These are both test ports for when you're in the test mode. Moving up, you'll find in blue, the area of blue here, your water level indicator. It's indicated by lights. And then above that, you'll find an audible speaker. This is adjustable. By simply twisting, you can increase or decrease the volume level. To the right, this is your pump boss. This is from Cummins, and this is the connection between your pump and engine and the pressures. Moving to the right, you're going to find your panel lights, left flood and right flood, and then you also have 3 additional rocker switches here for future location. There is an access panel to the right-hand side. To also gain further access, you can use the latch on the far left-hand side. It is simply a pull-out quarter turn that'll gain you access to behind these gauges. Let's talk about some of the gauges first. We'll start down in the yellow area. This is your speedlay number 1. Moving to the right in kind of the teal color, this is your passenger side 2.5-inch pre-connect. And then we'll move to the Pierce indicator. These are your test pressures for 150, 200, and 250 psi. It also has the job number and related RPMs for that. Moving to the right, this is your deluge discharge. You have a tank to pump and also a tank fill and recirculating line. Just above those two, tank to pump and the recirculating line, is where you'll find your engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. And then let's move all the way down to the left-hand side, speedlay number 2. You can see this is in the white color. And then we'll move just over to the right. You'll find the number 2 passenger side discharge, and you'll find that even numbers are on the passenger side and odd numbers are on the driver's side. Number 1, odd side, which is going to be the driver, or odd number, which is going to be the driver's side. And then you'll also find your pump primer. There are priming instructions just above that. You need to have at least 1,000 RPMs before you engage that. And then your number 3 discharge. All the way down at the bottom, you will find this. This is a warning label regarding to be cautious while opening caps. They could be under pressure and therefore significant hazard and damage. Once again, number 1 driver's side discharge, 2.5-inch. Number 3 driver's side discharge in blue. This is a 2.5-inch also. Moving to the center here, you'll find your Pierce logo with the American flag and eagle, large diameter intake. Moving to the right, you'll find this placard warning that only trained personnel should operate or work on this vehicle. To the right, you'll find a pump drain. This is your master pump drain. And then all the way down in the lower left, you'll find your 2 additional discharges for number 1 and number 3 discharge. You'll also find you have a driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. And the right, you'll have your specifications for your Hale pump. Let's move up to the top of the apparatus. You'll find first grab handles on both sides and also a telescoping light. As we move down in that lower corner, you can find once again the model and serial number here of your Hale pump. And then this is a general view of the side of your apparatus. We'll break down those individual compartments and items next. First, let's start in the upper left-hand corner. This is going to be the left side compartment number 3, and it houses your Kussmaul auto pump. This is for your air pump to maintain air in your brake system. To the right, you'll find your auto charger. When plugged into shore power, this will activate. And you can see down at the bottom, this is a 20 amp shoreline outlet. Down in the sides of the apparatus, you'll find compartments for bottle storage, both in front and to the rear of the tire. Let's move to the middle compartment here. This is your tool board. To access this on the front and back side, simply turn the latch on the right. Once it is fully extended, it will lock into position. To return it back to its original position, there is a small latch on the hinge side of your apparatus where you'll find. Taking a look at the Michelin rear tires here, let's move to the rear compartment. You will find a pull-out shelf here. The arrows indicating the release mechanism to allow it to pull out and return back. General view here of the side of your apparatus and rear. Let's cover some of those items next. First, down on the very bottom, you'll find once again 2 perimeter lighting. Located in the center, you'll find a tow or attachment point. Let's move up from this location here. We'll find the controls for your hose bed. But first, let's take a look. You have a backup light, yellow being a turn and red being brake. To the right, this is where you'll find your hose bed light. It's an on-off switch. And then to the right, you're going to find additional warning labels here regarding not riding on the back of the fire apparatus, that it could be hazardous, and this is a warning label for that. A little bit closer image here. We'll move to the center compartment next. This is a roll-up door. You can see just inside the louvered area is an access panel. And then as we move to the right, you'll find this diamond-plated cover door. This is a pan-style door. It's housing your ladders. There is a 24-foot extension and also a 14-foot, and then you can also see a 10-foot ground ladder. Located on the top of the apparatus and the hose bed is where your top fill water tank fill is. And then on the very far right-hand side, difficult to see in this image, but this is a 2.5-inch discharge. Up in the very top in the dunnage area, this is the location of your deluge. General view here of the side of the apparatus. Let's talk a little bit about some of the functionality and some of the items here. I would like to point out down at the very bottom is where you'll find your exhaust. Extremely hot temperatures here. Be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. Let's take a look at the top. You're going to see some emergency warning lights side facing, and then we'll break down some of the compartments next. Let's start first in the R1 compartment. This is the compartment on the right side in the rear. You will find a 12-volt blockage area here for access for 12-volt power. Also in those compartments, which I didn't mention earlier because the image was difficult, there is safety straps inside so you don't have those bottles come out. Center compartment you can see has LED lighting, as do all compartments. And as we look underneath, you'll find once again your Michelin tires, Alcoa wheels. Let's move just forward of this location, mid-section area. You'll find a roll-up door with an adjustable fixed shelf. Once again, LED lighting and an access port. And then we'll find additional information here on the pump panel. Let's first start with the 2 access ports here. They're easily accessible for access behind the pump panel. Once again, a warning label here regarding pressurized caps and hazards that are associated with that while removing them. And then because we're on the passenger side of the vehicle, we're going to find the number 2 2.5-inch discharge, large diameter pump intake. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find the associated drains for all of those. And here's a close-up of those images we just talked about. As we look underneath the apparatus, we'll find this discharge location. This is actually to be uncapped, and you should not cap it. This is your relief valve discharge. You'll also find LED perimeter lightings in this area. Once again, grab handles and also a telescoping light here. Let's look at the front section of the cab. We'll break down some of the components here. First, let's start with step lighting for firefighter safety. We have the perimeter and also step lights. And then as we move forward to this location, you can see this is the front passenger door. Same concept here, LED step lights and perimeter lighting. Let's look inside the cab here. You can see the 3 seats in the rear, 2 seats in the front. The front seat has an SCBA bottle storage location for quick access, as do the rear seats. Let's move to the front section of the cab, where you'll find access at the very bottom for the foot pedal for the electronic siren. Moving underneath the passenger seat or officer seat, you'll find additional storage here, similar to a glove box. And as we look overhead, you'll find storage location and then access to all of the controls within the center of the apparatus. Just a generalized view here from the passenger side looking toward the driver's seat, and then here is the seat for the passenger. You can see a quick access SCBA bottle storage location. Moving to the front area, you'll find once again the passenger side release for your hood. Once those 2 are released, you can then reach to the center to pull to open the hood of your vehicle. Let's cover a couple more items. First, turn indicator marker light, and then as we move further down, we'll find that emergency warning light, and then you'll also find the passenger side air horn. Those air horns work in conjunction when when the switch is activated or pull horn. Congratulations, Goldendale, Washington, on your new fire apparatus. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or further information that is needed, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.